sir. I think.
I think we should move on to the last talk in this DME session, and that is by President of ERSI, Dr. Shobhit Chawla. How can patient be the partners in the management? Slightly confusing terminology, but how can patient become partners? Apart from whatever Ajit said, control all the systemic parameters. Yes, over to you, Shobhit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Malika and Hyderabad Ophthalmic Society, Dr. Satish and Dr. Ajit. Well, the knowledge a patient develops from the experience of health and psychosocial problems, from the trajectory of care and services, and the impact of these problems on his personal life and that of his relatives is the very basis of a patient partnership. Thus, from the perspective of patient as partner, decision-making and quality care concerns are based on both professional, scientific, and experiential knowledge, and on patients' experiential knowledge of living with the disease. This has already been projected by Dr. Ajit Babu, and it's a growing issue and a problem. Majority of people with diabetes have at least one comorbid disease, and up to 40% have at least three, increasing the number of appointments required not only with the ophthalmologist or his treating retinologist, but also with other super specialties. So right from limb issues to renal disease, stroke, cardiovascular disease, peripheral vascular issues, and myocardial infarction. Care may be very expensive for patients in low and middle income countries, since many individuals worldwide lack health insurance, and out-of-pocket payments for diabetes treatment may pose large financial burden on these households, which is nearly a 50% chunk, at least in practices like ours in my city. Average visits by a DME patient in 6 months to various specialists ranges from is quite high, ranges from 4 to 6, as you can see. Patient adherence is itself affected by factors including age, psychosocial status, expectations of treatment, ease of travel, and cost, particularly where patients bear a large portion of the cost of treatment themselves. Work-related obligations and comorbidities reduces the compliance, and this is true in our scenario not only for the many times the elderly patient, but for the caretaking member of the family, if his professional commitments may outweigh also the visits. The most common reason, however, for treatment discontinuation, which was tracked in 57% patient, was going to another doctor, and death in 16%. In AMD, the median injection number decreased from 6 in the first year to between 4 and 5 in the consecutive years, as we have all seen in our experience, and injection frequencies in DME show a more pronounced decrease from a median of 6 injections in the first years to between 1 and 2 years, 2 to 4, before rising again to 6 in the 5th year. The reason I feel primarily that once patient comes under care for diabetic retinopathy and DME, he's more careful about disease, metabolic control. That also contributes to it, besides the effect of the anti-VEGF. So these are the mean number of injections in various real-world studies. I don't know why.
The slides have got stuck on.
Yeah, not moving forward.
Sai, can you help?
I don't know why suddenly it was working well.
Yeah.
Can you just stop sharing and come back again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
X implant, and the number of injections. So suggest lesser number of injections were needed for dexamethasone implants like Ozurdex. Frequent injections are also an added burden to ophthalmologists. A reduced number of intravitreal injections could reduce the burden of care for patients and optimize patient outcomes. In the real world, we see the gains of line with Ozurdex are quite good in the various trials and various studies which have been done. Why is the slide getting stuck? I don't know. Never happens.
Maybe without going to screen
Yeah, share screen. I'll try that.
without going to slideshow.
So treatment of DME and RVO with intravitreal injection therapy and the requirement for multiple and repeated hospital visits had a large practical impact on the patient's quality of life, as seen in the study by Sivaprasad. Each injection appointment took an average of 4.5 hours, comprising an average of 79 minutes of travel time, 188 minutes of appointment time, and for the patients who work needed 1 day off per appointment. The majority of patients required a carer's assistance around the time of injection appointment. I feel in our country it goes much higher, and there are more issues and more time loss. So in the current pandemic, multiple visitations to the hospital are risky. Besides being exposed to the risk of pandemic exposure, the other disadvantages of multiple visits have been studied by Sivaprasad et al. And they are majority of patients reported experiencing anxiety about their most recent injection treatment, reporting that they were anxious for greater than 2 days prior to the treatment. When asked how their anxiety affected them prior to their recent injection, 58% of the patients reported that they were uptight and could not relax. 46% reported they found it difficult to think of anything but the injection, and 26% of the patients reported that the sleep was affected. So it has myriad effects on the patients. So most patients with DME reported being having these disturbances. Additional reports of anxiety from patients related to needing to ask a carer for help, which led to 30% of the patient feeling guilty, and also added to 20% of the patient anxiety levels. So patients, 42% of the patients requested for fewer injections. In addition, the requirement for fewer appointments to achieve the same results was rated as the most desired improvement by 22% of the patients. Factors to reduce the overall practical impact of each appointment, including reducing appointment waiting time and having treatment carried out closer to home, were also requested. When we look at the cost of the various anti-VEGF and Ozurdex, so there is a variation, and the variation, while Ozurdex balances well with a cost of a medium cost as compared to Accentrix also, but there the injections needed are more. So in our scenario, what we have been practically doing, that this is a case study you see of a 58-year-old male, 20 years of DM, 12 years of hypertension, visual acuity, counting finger, 1 meter both eye, status post vitrectomy for advanced PDR in the right eye, left eye PDR with DME. 3 anti-VEGF injections were given in left eye from August 2019 to March 2020 because the patient could not make it earlier, various factors. Ozurdex given in left eye in June 2020 to avoid more visits. Visual acuity left eye improved to 660 post till follow-up in July. So due in for another injection now. So another case study of pseudophakia with DME and cataract surgery done in left eye in 2019, which aggravated DME. Patient couldn't come earlier. We decided to give Ozurdex, and we have a fairly decent result in this left eye. So what I look at as is that because we get COVID, we were getting most patients, now still are in most patients, added cost of COVID RT-PCR tests before giving each injections and the logistics involved in it. Fewer injections, less number of COVID test costs. Our switch was nearly 70% to steroid therapy because of this reason from anti-VEGF therapy post-March 2020. It was not alone a personal choice, but a need. It has been surely our choice when there is this added burden of cataract surgery to the patient in presence of DME. We have been routinely using in patients who are post 60 years and phakic with some lenticular changes. So amidst this pandemic, considerations towards patient and treating doctors, social distancing, therapeutic distancing, quality of life is important. For chronic pathologies as DME, planning for the entire year can be better achieved with longer acting intravitreals. So these are some views on this topic.
Thank you, Shobit, for highlighting this. I think this thing was focused on Ozurdex. Why it should be used more often than anti-VEGF.
More relevant to this time of pandemic.
So, what meaning thereby that once the COVID ends, you will switch back. You will decrease your Ozurdex.
Well, not necessarily totally back, but definitely where I was using anti-VEGF as my first choice as the first 2 to 3 injections and looking for response, yes. I would like to go to that protocol if possible and giving patient joy. Maybe if I have gained something from this experience, which I would like to carry forward to my patients, I might still continue using a fair amount of.
Meaning thereby, irrespective of COVID, this is true.
To some extent, not always.
Rajesh, has your usage of Ozurdex increased for last 6 months in DME?
Yeah, I would say it has marginally increased, sir. Not significantly, but
marginally.
Yes.
Murli, has it increased?
It has increased by about 10%, I would say, not more than that.
No, did you counsel them that longevity, you will not come frequently, exposure to so much rush in the OPD and chances of contracting?
Well, not. I mean, we do tell them the advantages of Ozurdex. The 2 reasons why I am not really jumped onto Ozurdex in a big way is one, the effect on the DME is much less than an anti-VEGF. When the anti-VEGF works, the DME, it works very well compared to Ozurdex. Somehow I feel the effect is not as great as we get with Ozurdex. That's number 1. And second is, of course, if it's a pseudophakic patient, I would definitely push Ozurdex. But if it's a phakic patient,
Malika, has your usage of Ozurdex being affected in last 6 months?
Yes, sir. Especially for
go in favor of
especially for pseudophakic patients. If I was considering ranibizumab, I might be more willing to go to Ozurdex now because I know that the number of visits required will be less. The injection required.
So that is true irrespective of COVID, no?
Yeah, exactly. But a little more now. I would worry little less about the IOP than I would in the non-corona times.
And elderly patients.
So I think Rajesh initially said 10%. I think that is by and large little more by everybody. Dinesh?
Actually, no, I have found that number of diabetics coming for injections has decreased overall.
No, the question was different.
So no.
Yeah.
So obviously, since Ozurdex is a proportion of the total number of diabetics. So overall, Ozurdex is also not increased actually for me.
Answer the question. My question was, has the number of Ozurdex
Percentage
injections
of injections you are giving.
not increased?
Frankly speaking, I have not factored this too much
Yeah.
into consideration.
For me, both Aflibercept and Ozurdex have gone up in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that gives me a levy when I call the patient after even 1.5 months. After the
Aflibercept has gone up to some extent, but Ozurdex not really.
for me, and we leave the choice to the patient when he wants to know the next visit. So obviously, the patients also have a bent towards less frequent visits.
Yeah.